to talk to you about parenting again. And you know, one of my greatest joys in life, right now in my life, I'm 51 years old. One of my greatest joys is when my adult children come and spend time with me. That they come and want to hang out in our home and want to spend time with Ken and me. It brings me such joy and fulfillment to hear them laugh and to be included in the things that they're doing, and that I'm friends with my children. But you know, when I was raising them, I couldn't raise them based on not disciplining them because I was afraid that I would lose their friendship. Like, there was times that my boys would say to me, as soon as I'm old enough, I'm leaving this house and I'm never coming back. I heard that repeatedly, and I would usually just respond and say, well, I'll really miss you, but it doesn't change the consequence. Like, I couldn't parent with the idea that somehow I had to save a friendship with my kids. I had to be willing to lay that down and still be in charge. But what the result of that, the fruit of that, is that when they became adults, they wanted to be my friend. And that's the greatest joy in my life, is being friends with my kids. But you don't become friends with your kids. This is the way I see it. And I'm just gonna say it this way. This is my opinion. You don't become friends with your kids by treating them as friends when they're little. Like, when they're little, you have to be the parent, and you have to stand up, and you have to give limitations and boundaries. You have to have standards. You have to say things and expect them to be followed. Like, that's not what makes a child. Like, a parent can think, well, if I just let my kids do whatever they want, then they're going to want to be my friend. That's not the way it works. The way that you make kids, and this is just from my personal experience, the way that you make kids want to be your friend is that you act as a parent when they're little, and then you become their friends when they're adults. But there's one other key to that I feel like Ken and I had to work at. We were not good at this. And yet it was something that we talked about a lot. In fact, we went on a marriage cruise and we changed, we should be talking about marriage. Instead, we talked about our kids. And we realized that Ben and Josh were grown, and Caleb and Nate only had like 4 or 5 years left with us, and they were gone. And we thought, what do we do? Because we don't have that many more years. And so we, instead of changing the course of our marriage, we changed the course of our parenting on this cruise. But what we started doing is we created a family night. And we did that with Caleb and Nate. I wish we had done it more with Ben and Josh, but we created it with Caleb and Nate. And what we did is that once a week, we would rotate among the 4 of us. We would do something fun together as a family. We might go see a movie. Ken took us out evangelizing, true story, because that's what he wanted to do. God bless him. 2 of us were really excited about it, and 2 of us weren't that excited about it. I fell on the not so excited about it, and one of the boys felt on the excited about it. But that's what he wanted to do, so that's what we did. We went to play basketball. That was not one of my favorite either. We went and played miniature golf. We went out to dinner. That was one of my favorite things to do. We just did different things together as a family. We spent time together as a family. And so in this session, I just want to talk with you about spending time with your kids. Have fun with your kids. You know, I have heard this statement so many times when I was raising kids, that the years go by so fast. The days go by slow, but the years go by fast. And you know what? It's true. The years go by so fast. It's hard for me to believe that my oldest son is going to turn 25 before too long. But the thing is that I wanted my kids to want to come home after they were adults and spend time with me. But you know what the key is? As parents, you got to spend time with them. Ken and I made it a priority as much as we could to eat at least 1 meal a day with them. We ate breakfast together. Ken and I often wouldn't eat, but we would sit at the table every morning in the school year and spend time with our kids, and we would eat breakfast with them, or at least be with them while they were eating breakfast. And then Ken would read the Bible to them, and we would pray together every single morning. Now, that was Monday through Friday of the school year. We took the summers off, and we took Saturday and Sunday off. But year after year after year, we did that. And Ken and I would work with them, mostly Ken, on memorizing scripture. That became part of that routine, but it was a meal that we ate together. And then we tried to eat as many meals at dinner time as we could together. That is a lost art of families. And we would ask crazy questions like, would you rather jump into a pool of Jell-O or a pool of lemon juice? Or we would just try to come up with crazy questions. If you could spend time with any living person in America, who would you spend time with? And the boys were always saying, what's our question for tonight? And I would sometimes give really gross, outlandish questions because, they're boys and they love like bodily functions and gross stuff. If you have girls, that may not work for you. But I would literally spend time trying to come up with crazy questions just for family discussion. Because you could just say, how's your day? And you don't get much out of them. But if you ask a crazy question and you can get them to laugh, it's a good family time. And so 2 ways to make your kids want to be your friend as an adult. One, I've talked about the last couple of sessions, and that is set boundaries and be in charge and be the parent. When you're the parent, be the parent. But at some point when they become 18 and older, Ken and I had to back off. Even though they were living at home, we let pretty much all the rules go. When they were in college and they wanted to go out at 2 o'clock in the morning, we let them, because in college, when they were in the dorms, they could go out at 2 in the morning and we can't stop them. So when they came home and they were adults and they were living here, within reason, we said, we're still your parent. We'd like to know where you're at, but we're not going to say you have a curfew anymore, because they were adults. So the first thing that we did is that when they were kids, we were the parents. When they became adults, we wanted to become their friends. But you got to establish that friendship early. And you do that by doing things that they want to do. This is my point. It's so easy in this world to get busy. As a pastor, it's so easy to be busy and busy with other people. But Ken and I made it a priority to make our kids a priority. Like, God was first, and our marriage was second, and our children were third, and the church and our business responsibilities, if you will, came next. Like, our kids came above our employment. The kids came above our ministry. And that was huge. If you want your kids to be your friends when they're adults, you've got to work hard to make them your friends when they're little. And that's by doing things that they want to do. Even when, for me with 4 boys, I didn't always want to go out and play football or throw a ball or go play tennis or go play golf. But if that's what they wanted to do, then I needed to do that with them so that when they were adults, they would want to come home and still spend time with me. When I was probably, 8 or 10 years old, back in the 1970s, I heard this song on the radio, and it impacted my life probably as much as any secular song I've ever heard. And I want to read you the lyrics to it, and I hope it impacts you the way it impacted me way back when. And I've kept that song with me all these years. And crazy as it is, I feel like it helped me parent. The song is called Cats in the Cradle by Harry Chapin, and it says this. My child arrived just the other day. He came to the world in the usual way, but there were planes to catch and bills to pay. He learned to walk while I was away. And he was talking 'fore I knew it, and as he grew, he'd say, I'm gonna be like you, Dad. I'm gonna be like you. And the cat's in the cradle and the silver spoon, little boy blue, and the man in the moon. When you coming home, Dad? I don't know when, but we'll get together then. We'll have a good time then. My son turned 10 just the other day. He said, thanks for the ball, Dad. Come on, let's play. Can you teach me to throw? I said, not today. I got a lot to do. And he said, that's okay. And he walked away, but his smile never dimmed. It said, I'm going to be like him. Yeah, I'm going to be like him. And the cat's in the cradle and the silver spoon, little boy blue, and the man in the moon. When you coming home, Dad? I don't know when, but we'll get together then. We'll have a good time then. Well, he came home from college just the other day. So much like a man, I just had to say, son, I'm proud of you. Can you sit for a while? He shook his head and he said with a smile, what I'd really like, Dad, is to borrow the car keys. See you later. Can I have them, please? And the the cat's in the cradle and the silver spoon, little boy blue and the man in the moon. When you coming home, son? I don't know when, but we'll get together then, Dad. You know we'll have a good time then. I've long since retired and my son's moved away. I called him up just the other day. I said, I'd like to see you if you don't mind. And he said, I'd love to, Dad, if I could find the time. You see, my new job's a hassle and the kids have the flu, but it's sure nice talking to you, Dad. It's sure been nice talking to you. And as I hung up the phone, it occurred to me, he'd grown up just like me. My boy was just like me. And the cat's in the cradle and the silver spoon, little boy blue and the man in the moon. When you coming home, son? I don't know when, but we'll get together then, Dad. We're gonna have a good time then. And that song still makes me cry, but the moral of the story is spend time with your kids now. Have fun doing what they want to do. Play Candyland. It's a miserable game, but play Candyland. Jump on the trampoline with them. Go for bike rides with them because time goes by so quickly. And like I said, I'm 51 years old, and one of the greatest joys in my life is having my adult children have time for me, to want to come and spend time with me. And again, it starts with boundaries so that they felt safe in my home growing up, but it also comes down to doing what they want to do when they're little, spending time with them, having a family night, having a game night, going to the movies together, going out to eat together. But you know what, honestly, kids don't always like going out to eat together. That's an adult thing to do. So go play basketball with them, go rollerblading with them, learn to ride a skateboard, play dolls with them. That's something I never had to do. But if you're the mom of girls, play dolls with them, play dress up with them, find things that they like to do and spend time with them, because what you're ultimately doing is blessing yourself so that when they grow up, they want to spend time with you.